take one. What are you talking about?
All right, everybody. Welcome back to Stories from a Mountain Town. And today we have a very special episode. It is just over the 1 year anniversary of Taylor and I living in Jackson. Cheers.
Cheers.
Taylor was doing champagne a little bit ago, but switched because it wasn't giving me the right vibe. But I am rocking a Earned It Hazy IPA from Snake River Brewing as always, because I certainly earned it today. The boys and I did another big split board tour here in the backcountry as all the ski resorts are closed. So
Big
Taylor,
bummer, isn't it?
yeah, yes. If anybody who's is any sort of interested in the ski industry, you would know basically every ski resort in Europe and North America are now closed for the season. It's a tragedy.
Truly heartbreaking.
Yeah. And so but that hasn't stopped most of the Jackson locals from skiing and snowboarding as much as they feel. Pretty much I've been hearing that pretty much every shop is now sold out of all their backcountry gear, basically. Did you know that?
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
All of them?
Yes.
Well, what if I don't have skis yet?
No. Well, yours are still there because yours are rentals, but they'll be getting used.
Take it easy on my legs.
Yeah. So, explain if you want to explain to the audience what you're talking about when you say you're getting new skis, like the system that's going on and where you're getting them from.
Yeah. So this year Tyler has been into it since we moved here, but I rented a few times, some backcountry touring gear. So we skin up and then ski down. And I'm getting a pair of the demo skis for a discounted price, but I don't get them till the end of the month. So 10 more days I'm skiing on the skinny skis and then I'll be ready to shred.
Yeah, so Wilson Backcountry Sports here. I've talked about them numerous times. Andy, they're the owner. He's outstanding. He's awesome. They rent ski touring setups. So that's, for those that don't know, it's a different bindings and usually different skis so that you can walk up things and then ski down them in the backcountry.
Why would anyone want to do that?
Yeah, it's no fun. Nobody come out here and do
it.
So they rent them, and Taylor's rented a couple times, and then at the end of the season, he sells his rental fleet from that year for bikes and skis. And if you they set a certain date at the end of that season, and if you call in and get your name on one of the lists for that model of ski or bike, then they'll call you up at the end of that month and say, hey, do you want them? And then you say yes, and you go in and buy them for they usually do half off retail. And I think with your skis, since they're pretty wide ones, and you're on the taller side of women, right?
Pretty average, I think.
Oh. Well, maybe just because they're big pow skis. They won't be used a ton, and if they are, they're in powder. And so they're not going to be scratched up or nicked up or anything.
Yeah.
And it'd probably be just people doing one lap on Weiss and taking them home.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're both pretty psyched. I'm really psyched for you to get those because it's nice being out in the backcountry with just the dogs alone and get some alone time, but it'd be a lot more fun to do it with you, honey.
It would be a lot more fun for my skis to not hit me in the head.
Yeah.
With the new backpack.
Well, they wouldn't with the new backpack.
I know. I'm just saying. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. Well, you can actually
Compared
walk
to
up
last year's
things.
setup. Yeah.
And you have more freedom to do things. And there's the different boots. Taylor just got some ski touring boots. Tell them about those.
We're all set up now. Got the boots, just need the skis. Last year, I'm comparing all of this to last year when we went and did Mount Glory, and I was a disaster. Forgot how to ski on the way down and then was complaining the whole way up because I had my resort skis pounding me in the head on the way up because we just strapped them to a regular backpack. So it's going to feel real good going to the proper equipment.
Try to talk more directly into the mic and not so far away. A fist away.
You cut that out?
No. A fist away from the microphone.
These mics are new for me.
Yeah, this is Taylor's first time trying them out.
Oops.
Oh, and she almost spilled.
Oh, God.
So, yeah, she's going to be totally equipped now. She got a new backpack for Christmas that's better for skiing. Lighter skis, touring skis, skins, adjustable poles, better boots. You'll be ready now. a backcountry babe.
Yeah.
So we've been here for a year. Is there anything that you like, an opinion of the area that you had coming in that has either changed or been verified after a year of living in it?
I don't feel like I guess when we visited here, I could not comprehend how people lived here and had normal jobs and lives, but it's really not that different than anywhere else. Like, I remember coming to visit and being like, how did you get a job here? How do you live here? What do you guys do? You don't have a Target. What goes on in this town?
Don't have a Target.
I didn't
That's
even.
the most Minnesotan
I
thing
couldn't even
you've ever
comprehend.
said. Wait, you don't have a Target? How does life go on?
Well,
That's the most Minnesotan
we're
thing
still
ever.
here, so I go back to Minnesota at least every 3 months to go to Target.
It's been a while now.
I
When
know,
was the
it
last
has
time you
been
were
a while.
in Minnesota? December for Nick's wedding?
Christmassy time, I think.
Or no, yeah, you went back for Christmas.
Yeah,
And yeah, so that'll be just about 3 months now.
it's a long time.
Yeah.
But it's not that much different than like the day-to-day life. Like, you go to work, you come home, you just have way cooler views and easier access to do a lot of things. I don't know why I couldn't figure out how people lived here, but they live here just like everyone else on the planet.
Yeah, that's a good point. We still like work for you 7 to 7s, for me more like a 8 to 4, like I would in Minnesota or anywhere else. But my afternoon walk with the dogs is like a world-class view that people pay millions of dollars to live at, or it's a little tour on the pass or something quick, or like you can do like quick little afternoon things instead of just like, when we lived in Fridley, I would just walk in this park like every day because that's all the nature we had in that area.
It's.
So we
I'm just
still
saying
do
it's
the
still
same.
the same
Yeah.
like life.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah. It's just cooler views, I guess.
Yeah, even running errands is like world-class views, right?
Yeah.
Like going to Albertsons, like you're looking at Snow King and the buttes around town and like the mountains in the distance, or like picking someone up from the airport is like not a chore because you drive towards the Grand and you get to see the Grand and the Big Three. Yeah, and the animals up there, like your normal everyday stuff is just like has this sprinkle of magic on it, because it's either you're looking at the Tetons, or you see a moose, or you see elk. Like leaving our neighborhood, we see elk every single day.
Yeah. When I pull up to the hospital parking lot, goes right up to the elk refuge, and they were like 6 feet from the fence the other day.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do they look at you when you pull up?
Oh yeah. They're like, "Hey, have a good shift tonight."
You get in there.
Be sure to put your N95 on.
Do they seem bigger since you're that close? Is it like?
Yeah, they do, because
make you
they haven't
nervous?
been this close in a while, or I haven't noticed.
I think they've been feeding them in the middle.
Oh.
I just from driving up and down and noticing where the herd is at. But yeah. So that was something that changed for you. Is there something that was like verified for you, or like after a year you like are reassured about something about the area? No? You don't have to. I'm just thinking of questions
I'm
to
just
ask
saying,
you.
expand on it a little bit.
Well, like if you came in with the idea of the area, or when we first moved here, you had a certain idea of what goes on here, and now after a year, it's been verified that you do like it, you do love the mountains, or something like that.
I think I liked it more than I thought I would. I was very intimidated by it, just because I feel like I just booped my nose on the microphone.
Fist away.
Just because I feel like my preconceived notions of this place were that everybody here's badass and shreds, which most of them do. But there are people who are like more mediocre, just getting into it, like outdoor adventure things, like skiing or hiking or biking. I didn't bike until we moved here, and now I'm way into biking. Like, you don't have to be scared to come here because you don't feel like you fit in with this kind of stereotypical Jackson person who lives here. It's there's
Yeah,
you'll find people who aren't like
there's
like
there's
that.
plenty of people who do it just as hobbies. They're not extreme.
Yeah.
And you sell yourself short all the time. You are certainly on the extreme side of your skiing and biking ability. You don't mountain bike, but your road biking ability, you do like 25 miles at a time.
Yeah, so that's been kind of cool
And-
because I feel like that's something there. I've gotten into things I wouldn't have gotten into if we were still in Minnesota.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
And your skiing ability is outstanding, Taylor.
Moving on.
Yeah, as long as you want to coexist with people, live in a small community, and you want your activities, your hobbies to be out in nature, outside somewhere, there you can fit in any mountain town, really.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Because there's so many different activities people are here for,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's biking, skiing, snowboarding, hiking, fishing, golfing. You know, the common thread is that they just want to do stuff that's active outside and enjoy the mountains.
Yeah.
So as long as you have just a desire to do that, you'll find people that want to do stuff with you. And
You don't have to be the baddest of the baddest up.
the vast majority of people that I've talked to, just split boarding or, hiking the pass or something, if you have a question, they're so happy to answer for you. Or like, if you don't know where you're going, you can be like, hey, can I walk there with you guys? Cause I don't know how to get to that spot or whatever. Like,
Mm-hmm.
the first time Ryan and I did Mount Glory and the first time we did, the Edelweiss route,
Yeah.
we just like walked up to someone random. I was like, hey, we've never done this route. Can we go with you? Cause we don't want to like put ourselves in danger.
Yeah.
And
that's
both
smart.
times have been like, yeah, sure, come along, because the higher the level of safety is for everybody in the backcountry, it's better for everyone.
Yeah. Exactly.
So
Water
the point
break.
is, you don't have to worry about being the extreme skier or being the crazy good fisherman or being the fastest biker in town. You just have to want to do it. That's all.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
So next question.
Feels
Is
like
there
an interview.
anything? That's what they usually are. But usually the guests are more talkative.
I haven't had enough glasses of KJ yet.
What is something that that you've learned in our year here that you don't like about the area?
I just really sometimes miss like how easily accessible it was to, which this is not a reason to not like a place. I do love this place. But something that just came up the other week was that my phone was broken and there was like nowhere that could fix it here. So I ended up mailing it out. Like that's kind of little stuff you take for granted when you live in a big city or bigger, medium-sized city. It's so easy to get groceries, get things fixed. Like if an appliance is broken, someone's out there that day. That's just not, we don't really have that here. I mean, we have a lot, but we don't have.
Yeah, ignoring the fact that I think your break on your phone was a weird one because like 3 different places said that they do fix everything else, but that. That is a good point because we've had that time when we were here vacationing and
Steven's phone broke.
Steven's phone broke and he couldn't get it fixed here either. So I think, and it's probably just like, there's not enough demand for that sort of thing all the time when you can so it's just as easily mail it to Idaho Falls or go to Idaho Falls,
Yeah. The other thing which we talked about in the last episode was that it's way hard to make friends when you're older. Like way more not that it's hard, it's more challenging than I thought it was going to be. But we have friends now, so don't worry about us, guys. It just took a little bit.
Yeah, I didn't really have any issue.
Oh, shush. You forced it.
Yeah. I forced your friend.
Yeah.
We're going to get Haley on here, and I don't know if I've told this story before.
She needs to be on here.
But Taylor's closest friend that's a girl here, Haley Lundgren, she's a
she's a
seventh grade math teacher, who is the owner of Bridger's girlfriend, Zuma, that beautiful German Shepherd that you sometimes see on my Instagram or anything. Taylor and Haley had met. You should just tell that story.
Oh, we
I'm
met
gonna
at
tell your
Bikes
story.
and Brews in what?
It was a
It was like
Bikes
a
and
little,
Brews. It was a beer festival at the Village.
yeah, where you paid X amount of money and then you got to try all the different
Yeah, it was a bunch of all the local
breweries,
breweries,
yeah.
like a bunch from Colorado, Idaho, all like these mountain town breweries.
So she had Zuma there, and obviously I was just immediately drawn to the
Yeah.
German Shepherd and wouldn't leave it alone. And then we started talking, and I showed her pictures of Maverick and Bridger. And she actually, this is funny, Haley broke her phone at that time, and she didn't have a phone. She only had her watch. So we were like, had sort of made loose plans and then never stayed in contact because she didn't have a phone at the time. And then a few weeks later, probably, I think it was, we were at hiking Snow King and ran into her and another teacher at Snow King, and I was like, hey, I know your dog, or something like that. I can't remember how it came up, but we remembered each other's dogs' names, but didn't remember each other's names.
Yeah, I think she said, "Hey, I've seen pictures of those dogs."
Yeah.
And Bridger was like smitten the moment he saw Zuma.
Yeah, him and Zuma are in love.
Yeah, I've never seen two dogs that like show physical and like show attraction and like care for each other like those two, like romantic care. They're like
They give up their beds for each other.
yeah.
Share
Bridger
their
will like
bones.
give Zuma a bone if he has it. Like he'll just
Mhm.
set it next to him and be like, "Hey, here, you can have it."
Young love.
Yeah, like, or yeah, he'll get up from his bed and like have Zuma lay down instead.
It's quite precious.
Yeah, it is.
But that's Haley. That's my closest friend out here.
Yeah, and then so we said, "Oh, hey, like remember," or you guys said like, "Hey, remember from Beers and Brews or whatever," and then Bikes and Brews, and then they're like, "Oh, all right, well, see you later." And then they started walking down, and I was like, "No, we're not losing this one." So then I like started walking faster to stay right behind them, and then I kept asking them questions to keep queuing up conversation to like push the opportunity for Taylor to make a friend, because
To
Taylor's
make my first
not
friend.
as bold as I am. And then we eventually got to the bottom after like, the whole hike down of conversation, because I kept pushing it. And then they were like, "Hey, do you guys want to get a beer at Still West? Because Still West is right there." And we were like, "Sick, yeah." And then
And
the rest is destiny.
that's Zuma and Bridger's love story.
Yeah. But it is, it is harder to make friends as an adult, because everybody has their friend group. They're not really like looking. Like you wouldn't just walk up to someone random and be like, "Hey, want to be friends?" That's kind of what Jeff did, but most people don't do that. And here there's actually an opportunity, because everybody moves to town. Most people just move to town. They don't like grow up here and then live here, and so they're all looking for friends at the same time. Like all of our friend group, with the exception of Haley, got here
Within like 3 months of each
a couple
other.
months of each other. Yeah. So it was all like we had all gotten here and we're like looking for our friend group, trying to solidify what we're going to do and like how to have fun and stuff at the same time. So that's why I think we all came together the way we did.
Yeah, for sure. I have a question.
What?
I want to know what is your favorite part about living here? One thing, that's all. You can only pick one.
My favorite part about the Jackson Hole area is some sort of, I'm going to get really hippie here on you guys.
Oh, Lord.
There's some sort of energy that's going on here that I only feel here. And I feel it on like days in the morning when it just dumped snow at the resort. I feel that buzz in the air. I feel it every time I go up towards the national parks to see the Grand Teton. That massive slab,
I know what you're talking
the
about.
massive
Yeah.
like magnitude of the mountains here.
Energy.
There's like a buzz to it. I feel it anytime it starts snowing. I feel it when I'm standing on top of a mountain, just like looking out over the valley.
Guys, he's tearing up a little bit.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I just feel this buzz going on like all the time here. And you might have noticed this because I've been waking up super early and going nonstop, like whether it's working hard or just like my activities that I do. Like I just have this extreme amount of energy, and it comes from that buzz and like just being really happy with my life too.
Yeah, that's true.
Do you feel the buzz?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's like it's contagious. Sounds really
The energy?
silly, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's like everyone has the same attitude when you go out on a powder day, or like when you're all in the park in the summer on your paddle boards.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no negative energy, it feels like.
Yeah, there's so much
That's really cool.
positivity that just like gets traded around.
Might be the slushies.
Yeah. It's what's more contagious, coronavirus or positive energy on a powder day?
Don't joke.
But yeah, I've actually like always felt it when it's snowing, like in Minnesota since I was a kid. I would just like go and walk in the woods when it would be snowing.
It's like, if you don't know what we're talking about, it's kind of the feeling you get when it's Christmas time and people start putting up their Christmas lights and their Christmas trees.
I don't feel that.
Okay, well, like girls maybe, like when Hallmark movies start coming on about Christmas. I don't know. It's this nice feeling, but it's here all the time.
Yeah, it's here most
Except
of the
when
time. There's down days and there's days when the stuff is shitty and whatever. But that's my favorite part. It's the buzz. It's the energy that I get from being here.
Love it.
Yeah. And that goes into the positive energy thing. There's been a couple days this year skiing or snowboarding, I mean, at the resort where I'm with this really fun group of guys. Noah Ryle and Sam, I don't know your last name, Sam Hurd.
Sam Schutzhard.
Yeah, and Alex Greco. And they all went to college together, and they're just like full of positive energy. Like they're really, really good skiers. So they're setting it off like these jumps and these cliffs. Oh, and Cole Philpott, I forgot about him. And he's a snowboarder.
Don't forget about Cole.
And they're all just sending it off all these jumps and cliffs and like powder slashes and like ripping through the woods and like, and they're trying to, ride as hard as they can. And and I'm trying to ride as hard as they are also. And it's just this really fun transfer of positive energy when someone hits a big line or someone does a big jump, and then that back and forth, like, and there's no expectations about it either, because when you're having such a good time in your own skin and having a good time just on your own, but there are people around, you can pass around the energy really, really easily without like the expectation of like, oh, Tyler's got to do a bigger jump or something.
Yeah.
Because there's never any of that. It's so much fun.
Let's play a game.
Okay, what's the game?
Okay, the game is that.
This is the first game on the podcast.
The game is, we're gonna go back and forth saying our top. Pick a number 1 through 10, higher than 5. 5 through 10.
10.
No, okay. Top 10 favorite things that happened in our first year in Jackson Hole. Okay, you start.
Should we rank them or just random?
At random. 10.
Okay. The moment. Okay, here it is. When we were driving here, I was in my truck, loaded all up with the dogs. Taylor and her dad were in her car, loaded all up, and then my dad was driving the U-Haul van for us. And so I was alone with just the dogs and my thoughts for an 18-hour drive. And we stopped, so we got to interact with them, but mostly alone. Actually, it's me, my thoughts, and Joe Rogan, because I listened to a ton of his podcasts on that. But it was about the time where we're going through Du Bois and you're getting up Togety Pass, where I had this doubt creep into me. And I was like,
what?
Why am I doing this? Moving across the country, moving Taylor across the country. This is so much effort. Like, my dad just drove a U-Haul across the country. Everybody's going through all this effort, like, all because I wanted to have I had this childhood dream to live in Jackson. And this doubt was creeping into me because I was just alone.
Side note, I never knew any of this.
I've told you this.
No, I did not know this.
And on Togety Pass, if to any of those who've driven up there or whatever, you get to like the top of it, and then you start to come into this valley, and you can see the Grand from like way the frick over there. Like, you're right. It's right by Togety Mountain Lodge, and it was right when the doubt in me was swelling. It was getting bigger. Did I come over the top of the pass, and I saw the Grand, and chills went through my spine of like, oh, that's why I'm doing this. And that was when I tapped into that. I could feel that energy again that I always feel when I'm here, that like reassured me and as to like this is the most beautiful place in the world. That's why I wanted to be here. That's why I'm doing all of this.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
Mine's much less emotional than that, but number 9, 4th of July.
Okay, that was a really fun day. Do you want to go tell them what we did on
4th of July was really, really fun here. We had heard that the thing to do is to get tubes and go tubing down the Snake River. And our friends described it to us as, I feel like we've talked about this before on here, but I can't remember. They described it as,
talked about multiple times.
Yeah, the lazy river. Not at all the lazy river. We did not know what we were in for there. But anyhow, we had a blast. I'm not talking just the float. The whole day was super fun. We came back up to our house, took the truck up to the top of the road, drank wine, and watched fireworks from the top of the butte. It was just like a picture perfect day.
Yeah, and we had all our whole group of friends. And Ryan and Elsa were here.
Mm-hmm.
We met Alex Kissenerigus that day.
Yeah, it was
nobody except for Alex's toe getting kind of busted in the river, but that was only casualty.
Incident. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like
pretty sweet.
That's a day like I've been here years past not doing that, but here on 4th of July, people like die every year. Someone died that day.
I know. It's sad.
But it's just like a crazy because everyone's drinking and there's it's a real river. There's like rapids, and if you don't get out at the right time, you can go into some bad rapids for tubes and whatever. Bad stuff happens when people get drunk.
Yeah. Okay. Number 8.
Number 8. So about 30 minutes after my last moment, I was just north of the airport. No. I was pulling into town, going by the Elk Refuge, pulling into town for the first time as a resident or going to be a resident. And the song Sunrise by Ryan Bingham started playing on my stereo in my truck. And the intro to that song is the intro to this podcast. It's the theme song now. I changed it to that because it's this really, really, really beautiful, I think it must be like a violin or a fiddle intro that just sounds like the most Western, the most cowboy sort of sound you could ever think of with some acoustic guitar. And it's just, I always get reminded of the mountains when I hear it. It just feels Western to me.
Yeah, it does. It reminds me of when we go to number 7.
No, I wasn't.
Is that what
yet.
number?
I wasn't done yet.
Oh, sorry.
And that song was playing, that intro was playing, and I was just riddled with goosebumps and chills throughout my whole body because it was like finally, it was like the initial set-in was happening of like, I'm driving into Jackson to live here, So that's number 8.
Okay, number 7 is I feel like we did this a few times, but when we go back by Slide Lake and hike around, and I'm not going to name the secret spot, but that's what I'm talking about.
Why?
It's where the water's blue and the rocks are red, but we're not telling you the name of it.
Yeah. It's been talked about, but yeah.
Shoot. I don't think it's a big secret.
There's an area here called Slide Lake. It's a lake that was formed by this enormous landslide in the 1920s that took out like an entire town. And there's all these really cool like creeks and rivers, and then it starts, for some reason, the mountains there transition from like pine covered like sharp rocky granite mountains to like red rock hills like you would see in like Utah or Arizona or something. Mm-hmm. And it's just this weird little pocket around Du Bois that like has that, and that's kind of where that comes from. So it's one of our favorite spots to go to. If we weren't getting away from it enough in our current house, that's where we go to really get away because there's never anybody out there.
Number 6. He's on the spot.
An actual time.